Don't do what I do because I don't know what I'm doing. Let's do it. Good morning, welcome to another video with a guy in his projects. Today we are working on the new Cherokee. So if you watched my last video where I introduced this, might be 2 or 3 videos ago. If you watched the video where I introduced this is a 1994 Jeep Grand Cherokee ZJ. It has the inline 6 engine and we got a lot of work to do. I'm not sure exactly what my plan is as of yet. I'm either going to go with 33s or 35s. I'd rather go 35s and build up some axles. We're going to pretty much redo everything underneath the frame. So there'll be new drive shafts, new axles, maybe even transfer case and transmission. I don't know. We got a lot of stuff to do. We're going to do a lot of performance mods in the engine bay as well, most likely, starting with the cooling system. We'll upgrade the cooling system and stuff like that so that here in the Phoenix area, and when we do go hit the trails, it'll stay cool. Right now there's some other issues though, and I don't know exactly what's going on because I just got this like 12 hours ago. We're going to dive through them. There's some issues. I know the transmission was recently rebuilt by AMCO last year supposedly, and it is leaking oil like crazy, ATF. The transmission is leaking from the pan, it's leaking from the cooler lines, it's leaking everywhere. So I'm assuming that's not good. It's also doing some surging when you're slowing down, coming close to a stop. So there's going to be some issues we got to work through. The coolant is kind of burping out the coolant reservoir. I don't know if that's because we got a head gasket leak or if the coolant reservoir cap being missing is just causing havoc. Either way, we got a coolant reservoir coming, and yeah, there's just lots to do. But today, before we do any of that, we're going to try and clean this thing up so I can see exactly what's going on, what's leaking where and how much and how fast. If I get this thing cleaned up, I can get a baseline. I can know what it looks like today, and then a week from today I can know what it looks like and how much is leaking where, and so I can see where my priorities lie for fixing crap. What we're using is a crap load of brake clean, and we're going to use this foamy engine degreaser. I'm going to use this foamy engine degreaser. I bought about 8 cans worth of each, so we should be good to have some fun for a while. So another note before you guys all chew me out, when it comes to washing your engine bays, there's a lot of debate, tons of debate. I see it on Facebook all the time, I see it in the old forums I read all the time, as to how and if or should or when you should wash your engine bay. There are a lot of people say you got to keep the engine running while you clean the engine bay. There's others that say you got to keep it off and let it completely dry to clean your engine bay. There's a lot of others that say you got to turn it off, leave it cold, spray your engine bay, turn it on to help evaporate all the water. There's other people that just say don't even touch your engine bay. My personal opinion, cover your alternator if you're going to start your engine before it completely dries out. Cover your alternator because that drives a lot of electrical current. I'm going to cover any of the computers, and that's probably about it. So alternator and computers, I might disconnect the battery just for, you know, who cares, I don't know, but that's all I do. I've cleaned a lot of engines in my time, not as a professional, just as a DIYer. Every vehicle I've owned, I've cleaned the engines on to some extent. I've never once had an issue, so that's where I'm at. Don't do what I do because I don't know what I'm doing. Let's do it. So comment below what you think the story is here. So over here we have a headlight with a piece of wood shoved in to help aim it because of that. So my guess is they're on the trail, it broke, they just found what they had and put it in there. But they hit something so good that up front on the way home after they're out of the woods, this one came loose, and all they could think of to do to hold it in place was take off their sock. That's my version of what happened. Comment below what you think the story is, because this is in the same, but just not even, yeah. Anywho, comment below. So the other thing that's gotta go is this stupid ass thing. These can be cool. They can also be ugly. This one is both ugly and barely holding on. And it bounces up and down like crazy when you're driving. So we're just gonna get rid of it. Yeah. There we go. The other thing that's bugging the crap out of me is this hood latch. Sometimes it'll latch, sometimes it won't. And sometimes when it's latched, it'll randomly just pop open while you're driving. Now this Jeep is pretty much grounded until I get the headlights figured out, the cooling system figured out, and the transmission figured out. But still, I hate it when things don't work. So we're just gonna put some brake clean on here. And then we're gonna try and exercise it a few times. Exercise, not exercise. So a little brake clean just to help clean up any gunk, especially on the spring. And then I wanna go pull the cable a few times. So now we've done brake clean, we're gonna get a little grease in here to help lube everything up. Probably take this completely apart and clean it one day because I hate road failures. I really do not want this to fail on me on the road. There's few things that would suck more than not being able to open your hood. Alright, that's lubed up nice and neat. So we got the E and the D. Thankfully, these ones are not stuck on like freaking glue like a lot of them are. Yeah. That is done. Alright, so while we got this thing out, we just kind of cleaned up the engine bay. Came out way better. I like that degreaser. That degreaser worked out fabulous. There are still some greasy spots that are just crazy buildup. I used a toothbrush right here. This is super built up, and it still came out way better than it was. You can do the same thing with the air, with a leaf blower or a shop vac on the blow side, just to blow out all the standing water if you want. It's just my preference. So while we're here, I'm just gonna see, out of curiosity, what we look like for the life of our coolant with this cheapy little $2 tester. You always got to be skeptical of these cheap testers, but at the same time, they still do a decent job. All right, so we're gonna pull it. The needle has to be fully immersed in fluid, and it's saying we've got 0 life. We need more fluid. Hold on. Let's see if we can get a little more fluid in there to make it more accurate. The gauge says it needs to be full. Let's see if we can fill it up. Still not full. Turn this upside down so I can get more air in here, I guess. There we go. Alright, so now we got a full gauge and the needle moved. We're peeing out fluid. Alright, so if I'm reading this right, This little cheapy $2 gauge is saying that the needle is about 260 degrees Fahrenheit. That's going to be our boil over protection. And it's saying 265 degrees would be recommended, which means we are, well, the needle moves as I shake a little bit. So we're right about adequate. Personally, I hate being adequate, so we're probably going to change this fluid because holding it up to sun, that looks, you probably can't tell, looks pretty gross actually. I'm really hoping there's no oil in there. Oil would be a bad thing. But it's not really yellow, it's a really dirty yellow. Thanks guys. So we're gonna continue washing this thing for a long time. Nothing you haven't seen already. Gonna go under, gonna clean the diffs the same way, the transfer case, the transmission, the oil pan, everything that's leaking, which is everything. The goal isn't to get this 100% clean, it's just to get all the old crap off, the majority of the old crap, so I can see the new crap seeping, so I know what's leaking the worst and where to start on repairs. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. See you next time.